Bitcoin. Bakkt is preparing for a soft launch of its long-awaited Bitcoin futures, and the market is heavy with anticipation of this event. The Bitcoin Ethereum relationship, crypto, crime, and gold goes somewhere it should never go. Thanks to KuCoin for sponsoring today's episode. KuCoin is a great place to find low market cap crypto gems and to trade altcoins in general, especially at a time that some of the bigger exchanges are shutting their doors to US customers. KuCoin also now offers soft staking for Tron, Atom, IOST, and EOS. And KuCoin has just launched their margin platform called KuMex, where you can leverage trade with up to 20x leverage. There is a link down below where you can go ahead and get signed up for KuCoin. Also, come and join the fun this Thursday, 9 p.m. New Zealand time. Nuggets News and I are going to be debating gold versus Bitcoin in a live stream. So set your clocks and bring your questions. So, Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin today is over $10,000 still, although there are some that are worried that we may be in for some short-term pain as we have actually hit a death cross on the 4-hour charts. That happened just before the start of the weekend. However, as always, we really need to look at the big picture here. We are still solidly in the Golden Cross territory on the daily, meaning that we are still in a situation of strong positive momentum, although we have seen volume falling off significantly over the last few days, which is funny considering all of the bullish news that happened last week out of the USA with Congress and all that stuff. But perhaps many investors are worried by the BitMEX news that the CFTC is bringing them under investigation for allowing US traders on the platform. The other day saw a BTC outflow on BitMEX, which exceeded the inflow by $73 million, meaning that traders are getting their funds the heck off of the exchange, which is a pretty big deal because by reported volume, BitMEX is the #2 exchange. And regardless of where BitMEX exactly sits on the rankings, it is very hard to deny that basically the effect of BitMEX on the markets is huge. Still though, it is far from the only margin trading platform out there. I guess that Bybit will start to get a lot of business as people move away from BitMEX, and the fallout potentially from what the CFTC is doing might increase over time. And of course, we have Binance and KuCoin and all these others launching their own margin trading platforms as well. And it does seem that the power of BitMEX will naturally begin to diminish in the coming years due to increased competition. And speaking of futures contracts, Bakkt is officially starting testing today. It's their soft launch. No, really guys, it's finally happened. The when Bakkt meme may finally need to be put to rest. Reminder again that Bakkt futures are physically settled in stark contrast to the CME, which has cash settled futures. They'll be offering daily and monthly Bitcoin contracts to institutional investors. Remember, this is only the soft launch, it's just the testing phase, but it's happening, guys. Now, we can expect the testing period to last for maybe 2 months or so until the regulators are satisfied that everything is working as it is intended to work. Just like we saw happen with Fidelity, guys, where they had basically a few-month trial period, and now they're past that trial period, and now they're pushing Bitcoin to their millions of clients. However, Bakkt has said that the platform will be fully operational by the end of this quarter, so that's pretty soon. But Bakkt is famous for delays. We have seen many delays before, so another delay for the full public launch, that could still happen, so, don't get too excited, guys. But to be honest, this timeline is super interesting. And Bakkt is an awesome catalyst for Bitcoin in the lead up to the halvening for Bitcoin, which is now less than 1 year away. But let's keep our expectations a bit tempered for the moment. Bakkt is just one player of many. There are lots of others who are doing futures contracts at the moment. And of course, this is just the start of the testing of their futures contracts. Let's wait for the futures to actually open up to a wider audience for the full public launch to really see an impact coming through on the liquidity for Bitcoin. And of course, we can expect a whole raft of other products to come from the Bakkt team in the future as well. One of the most anticipated of which will be their payment processing network, which could possibly bring crypto payments into the mainstream as never before. Crypto has yet to become as easy to use as PayPal, for example, but it will one of these days, and Bakkt may just be a part of making that happen. Also very curious to look at the timing of the CFTC's probe into BitMEX, isn't it? It seems like US regulators are looking to kind of clean up some of these unregulated futures exchanges outside of the US to the extent that they can try to anyway. Quite the coincidence that the CFTC launches an investigation in BitMEX only a few days before Bakkt goes live. A little bit suspicious, guys. To be fair though, Bakkt is an institutional product, not a retail product like BitMEX, but institutions want Bakkt because the New York Stock Exchange and the parent company, the Intercontinental Exchange, have an incredible reputation amongst these institutional players, as well as massive influence, massive capital, and a massive reach. There are reported to be up to 150 institutional players currently waiting to use the platform. The Bakkt sales team is getting geared up to push the products to their market makers and to their major broker buddies. But just stop for a second to think, how messed up is it that institutions are allowed to trade futures like there's no tomorrow, but regular investors are banned from almost every leveraged platform for futures in the USA? Anyway, the next big market run, it's going to be retail and institutional money together, whereas previously it was mostly just retail. The entry of institutions will bring in some critical factors that the retail market alone cannot offer. In particular, consistent and big liquidity, which is important on the journey of Bitcoin's multi-decade price discovery phase, which we currently find ourselves in. We are truly starting to see the next big cycle for Bitcoin heating up. All of those giant numbers that we see being thrown around all the time, they kind of seem a bit inevitable. Not like fantasy numbers like some might think that they might sound like, but inevitable. So many people are calling for $100,000 as the next cycle top, which, considering the institutional momentum which is starting to pick up, as well as the charts which are pointing in that direction, then we may very well see such numbers. Could be next year, could be 2021. It's not going to happen overnight. The effect of Bakkt is not an overnight thing, but the fire is getting bigger and the light is shining brighter. Moving on to Ethereum. Ethereum's wrapped Bitcoin is growing at such a fast rate that it is likely to exceed Bitcoin's Lightning Network, which is crazy, guys. And actually super interesting when you stop to think about it, because at some point, Ethereum will scale to massive transactional throughput at incredibly low prices, and then Bitcoin proxies could simply run on Ethereum for small transactions, for DEX trading, all that fun kind of stuff. While wrapped Bitcoin is, of course, the original version of it, there are also others like, Universal Protocol Bitcoin, and we have Binance Chain, which has got wrapped Bitcoin as well. Wrapped Bitcoin variants will certainly have their uses in the markets moving forward, but let's keep it real, guys. They are not a Bitcoin replacer. And they're actually not a Lightning Network replacer either. They're a supplement to, if you will. They add a layer of transaction power with Bitcoin and Bitcoin-denominated proxies, while the main chain of Bitcoin continues to be that slow but massively secure behemoth that we all love. But then, of course, you can just use Ethereum as money too. So there is that. And a totally wacky announcement out of Ethereum land has taken many people by surprise. Vitalik is considering using a third-party blockchain that has lower commission rates for data transfers. And the blockchain of choice? Bitcoin Cash. Fascinating, Vitalik. Currently, Ethereum has a data throughput of 8 kps, while Bitcoin Cash has a throughput of 53 kps. Apparently, Ethereum Classic is also under consideration to fulfill this role. What a strange turn of event, guys. And wow, how much does it deeply underline the need to move towards Ethereum 2.0 and to do it very quickly? Ethereum right now is a mishmash of different ideas, patching it together until the new blockchain launches. And yes, the Bitcoin Cash data transferred, if it goes forward, would only be a temporary measure until ETH 2.0 comes out next year sometime. But currently we see Ethereum chasing so many temporary batches from Bitcoin Cash to ZK Snarks to try and help us survive and thrive until 2.0 comes along. Man, it's got to happen. Of course, there are slight security concerns because BCH is less secure because it is far from dominating the SHA-256 algorithm. Bitcoin gets that honor. Now, all of this just says to me, Vitalik, get busy. Seriously, man, ETH 2.0 cannot come soon enough. Up next, crypto and crime. The US Treasury Secretary said the other day that dollars are not, nor have they been, effectively used for crime. You guys probably heard that by now. That's pretty funny when you think about it, because it's like he's imagining Bitcoin was only invented in 2009. Surely there must have been some crime using dollars before that situation. But actually, Bitcoin is so good, it was actually used for all criminals, for all crime, since the beginning of time. Metagame, guys. Metagame. Bitcoin's got it beat every time. Now, according to Masari, each US dollar spent in Bitcoin on the darknet equates to $800 in laundered fiat, which counts for the lower end estimate that $800 million is laundered using fiat in 2018, but some estimates put that number as high as $2 trillion in fiat laundered in 2018. All of it through the front door of the banks with people in suits. Let that sink in. All the KYC, all the AML in the world was unable to stop hundreds of billions to trillions of dollars of money laundering. And that's just money laundering, guys. Let us not forget about the drugs and the sex and the illegal arms and the counterfeit goods and all that other stuff. The dollar is the king of those markets. But the real thing here is that, yes, bad people will do bad things with money. It's been happening since the beginning of time. But the vast majority of time, good people do good things or simply just normal things with money. It is a crime that the government wants to take away your freedom simply to try to prevent a tiny fraction of crime happening within a certain medium of exchange. And newsflash, guys, heavier regulations on crypto, it's not going to lead to less crime happening in the world. Crime will find a way. It'll simply find another medium of exchange. And to finish up today, a fun story about gold for you. 4 men in India have had their gold seized as they touched down in the country after returning from Dubai. However, it is not the gold seizure that was noteworthy about this story, but instead how they were smuggling it. The men had decided the best course of action to avoid customs duties was to hide the gold, all 1,295 grams of it, in their butts. Guess everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame for something. Those guys are now famous for that. Good thing gold is easy to wash off, isn't it? Would certainly need to give a good laundering to any fiat that was smuggled in that way. One thing is for sure, you can rest assured that your Bitcoin has never been in anyone's butt. Gold, not so certain apparently. Tough job being the customs agent fishing that stuff out. Anyway, I don't think those guys expected to be the butt of so many jokes. Anyway, guys, it would of course have been so much easier to carry a hardware wallet in your pocket. I guess you can put a hardware wallet in your butt too, should you so desire, but it kind of seems to be a little bit excessive and weird. Probably would raise more red flags than just carrying it in your pocket. Or you could just send the Bitcoin from Dubai over to India. But look, reality is gold is super popular in India, so obviously these guys were bringing in the gold. Because it was gold, they were not just butt transferring value from one country to another using gold as the medium. But still, it does underline how much more practical Bitcoin is, but also how much more unconfiscatable Bitcoin is. Anyway, guys, just my 2 stories as always. You let me know what you think about these or any other stories down below in the comment section. As always, you guys totally freaking rock, and I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Come over here and check out this video. Seriously, thank you so much. And if you did enjoy the video, we'll leave a thumbs up on it, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new around here and click on that notification bell to know when I put out a new video. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.